Welcome everyone, another episode of Dummies on the Hardwood. I just got Bobby here with me. Isaac has a little bit of a occasion to deal with. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. Before we get started, first of all, we want to give a big shout out to everyone who's been following, listening to us on YouTube, Spotify, TikTok, all these platforms. Continue to listen to us, continue to show the love. Please, 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 we'll be changing our post time now to Wednesdays. We'll be dropping on Wednesdays. All right, so please stay tuned. Keep your notifications on. Subscribe to us, most importantly. Now, without further ado, let's go and get started. We're going to be talking about playoffs. These playoffs are getting hot and spicy, man.
Very interested in playoffs.
Man, the Cavs just got spanked by the Pacers. We're going to delve in a little bit into that. But first, I think we need to talk about the main thing, and that's the Knicks and Celtics.
Yeah, that's one hell of a series. I don't think anybody in their mind just chose the Knicks to be 2-1 over the Celtics right now. Even I'm shocked, to be honest with you. And then after Boston had dropped those first two games into New York, I thought to myself, is Boston really going to compete? Is Boston really going to come out and win the East? And I mean, because if you look how they've been playing for the past first couple of games, I mean, they heavily relied on that three ball. And that was the death of them in games 1 and 2.
Absolutely.
And it costed them the game. And then game 3, that was the Boston Celtics that we're all accustomed to seeing. But right now the momentum is definitely on New York, I think.
Wait, you said the momentum? How could you say the momentum's on New York side?
They're 2-1. Okay. They're still in New York.
Okay. Providing something else.
And honestly, I don't know how much of Jayson Tatum is going to show up.
Oh, my God. Here we go. All right. First things first, let me debrief you on a few things, right? Celtics shot 20 of 40 from the three-point line. Obviously, way better than the first two games. I think they were 25 for 100. Downright atrocious. I'm not going to disagree with you on that. Do I think they shoot the three ball a little too much? Yeah, but, I mean, at the end of the day, it got them to banner number 18. They won a ring. So I mean, I can't sit here and say that it's not all bad for the Celtics. I mean, there are some things like Tatum's inefficiency needs to work on that a little bit. Jaylen Brown's been showing up. I think those two need to really step it up. I mean, obviously not having Porzingis hurts, but I mean they won last year without Porzingis. But I think the East got a little tougher this year. I will say that. But I mean, I'm still sold on them. I'm sold on Tatum. Don't discount their experience. You never want to discount their experience. I think they're gonna run it up.
I'm not discounting their experience. I'm just questioning their mindset going in, because they don't have they don't have that killer mindset in the playoffs. The only person that I see with that mindset is Jaylen Brown. I don't see that in Jayson Tatum. I'm just being honest. And you've seen it in the first couple of games. Did he have that killer mindset?
No, he didn't show up.
He didn't show up. And now it's game 3 they won. Okay, he had a pretty good game. Game 4, are we going to get the same version of Jayson Tatum we had in Game 3? I don't know, because I just don't see Jayson Tatum with that it mindset. If the Celtics want to win, Jayson Tatum is the key, because we know JB's going to be there every single night. We know that. Jayson Tatum, he could shoot 10 of 20, or he could shoot 4 of 20. We don't know what we're going to get.
But also, too, as I was saying before, because if we're talking about where there's a pressure rely on, I think it falls on New York now, because I don't know if you saw a clip of Karl-Anthony Towns grabbing his finger, saying and mouthing the words "I broke it."
Was it on the shooting hand?
I think it was his non-shooting hand or shooting hand. Doesn't matter. He's got a broken finger, and he was grabbing it the whole time. And so if I'm New York, that'd be a little bit of cause of concern, because, yes, for what he does not make up in scoring, he makes up for in rebounding, because he is absolutely destroying them on the board.
And I mean, no Karl-Anthony Towns, and that equals the more load on Jalen Brunson. That puts extra pressure on Jalen Brunson to show up.
But don't get me wrong.
Jalen Brunson's fully capable, but in a 7-game series against Boston, you're going to need Cat.
But Bridges and Anunoby have been stepping up to the plate. Obviously, Anunoby disappeared in Game 3, right? So it's just all about consistency at this point for the Knicks, because, right, now this is Game 4. The pressure's on New York. I'm not going to say the pressure's on Boston. Of course, Boston has to win it to at least make this a somewhat competitive series, because 3-1, let's face it, it's not the end of the world, but you got to win 3 straight games to, even have a chance. And, now it just becomes, after this, Boston, New York, Boston, New York. No, I think I got that. I butchered it. But you get my point. It's going back and forth, right? So it's definitely not going to be easy, but the pressure falls on New York. Because if they lose this one, hey, it's 2-2. It's like starting from 0-0. The only difference is now whoever wins the next 2 games is moving on to the Eastern Conference Finals. And I still trust my Celtics, right? I still trust them. I think they're going to come out. Jayson Tatum, he's coming out. He's tired of these critics. These critics are always going to have something to say, whatever, but he's going to ball out. I think Tatum's going to have a good series, and I think the Celtics are going to win in 6.
I think the pressure's on Boston. I mean, the bottom line is you're still in New York. Yes, you're the defending champions. Yes, we get all that stuff. But the bottom line is you have to win 3 fucking games.
Yeah.
You have to win 3 games.
It's not saying it's impossible.
It's not impossible, but do they have that mindset to do it? And that's the one thing that I've always questioned about Boston is how tough are they going to be when it comes to the playoffs. That's just me. Like I don't see it. And I mean, if I look at the way the Knicks are playing right now,
Hater.
I'm not a hater. I'm just stating facts.
All right, Laker hater. Come on.
All right,
Proceed.
whatever. Bottom line is, we got some of the Knicks players are stepping up to the plate.
That's what I've been saying.
And they're stepping up to the plate. And they're still in New York. I still give the momentum to New York.
I mean, I don't know about this one. I think, I think Boston's going to win this one, and we're going to head back to Boston. That's just my opinion. I trust, when the backs are against the wall. What did JB say against to the Heat in 2022? He said, or 2023, he said, don't give us one. Don't give us one. That was 2023. Don't give us one. And sure enough, they won one game against the Heat, and they forced a Game 7. Granted, they did lose, but still, this team history tends to repeat itself. So I think what's going to happen, Boston's going to definitely take one. I think they've got that mindset. They've been there. The pressure's on New York because they got to win.
I think
they need to win this game.
I think the one thing we can agree on is this is going to be a 6 or 7 game series.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's a 6 or 7 without a doubt.
And a 6 or 7 game series. And I wouldn't be surprised if it went to 7. But yeah, I'm gonna have to disagree with you. I'm gonna take New York. I think New York might take this series.
That's fine. You can agree to disagree. But these 2 teams, they're playing their hearts out. But you can tell that series against the Pistons for the Knicks really hardened their mindset, so to speak, to be able to withstand the play against the Celtics. So that's why their resiliency in coming back is at an all-time high because, obviously, blowing 2 20-point leads. I mean, come on now. And every Celtic fan, we can empathize. No 20-point lead in Boston is safe, right? Especially knowing the Celtics, they have a tendency, mental lapses and all that whatnot. But I guess, like I said, I think the Celtics are going to come out. They've been there, done that. They know what it takes. That's all I've got to say with that. You know what I mean? So I think we're coming out. I think we're gonna come out in 6 or 7 in 6 games, not 7, 6.
All right. Well, agree to disagree. Anyways, we'll transition over to the other Eastern Conference matchup, and that is the Pacers versus the Cavs. And that one, I can say I'm a little bit surprised. I think everybody had the Cavs winning this series, but right now the Cavs are down 3-1. They're down 3-1 to the Indiana Pacers. And then I just saw that Donovan Mitchell just sprained his ankle.
Yeah, I was about to say that. That's not looking good.
And so, Cavs have just been dealt with a bunch of injuries in the playoffs to key players. Is this possible for them to be able to bounce back against an Indiana team?
No Donovan Mitchell? I don't think so. But look, here, before we even get started, right, you got to give a credit to the Indiana Pacers, man. They are one hell of a team. They are a feisty team. They do not quit. Right?
Yeah.
But this is giving me hallmarks of last year. Granted, if the Celtics advance, right, we have a Pacers and Celtics all over again, but could we be seeing that in the future, right? Because Indiana, they're no slouch. I mean,
I'm being honest, I really was like, Indiana, they're going to get mopped. And then I saw them, I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
I did not expect them to be 3-1 against a Cleveland Cavalier team, but the caveat to this is Cleveland didn't have a few key players to play their game.
In like 1 or 2 games.
One or
right?
two games.
That makes a big difference.
So that it does make a big difference, and that's why we use that same argument against Boston last year, where you got a bunch of injured players, and the Boston played them. Matchups, we get it. But the point is, right now, Indiana is taking care of business.
Yeah, that's the bottom line. They're handling their shit.
They're going out there.
Stuff.
They're going out there, and they're just dominating.
It's honestly impressive. I mean, Tyrese Haliburton getting called overrated. I mean, I'm going to be one of those people and say, yes, I did call him overrated at one point. I still do like his game. I still do respect it. You know what I mean? But when he hit that crossover step back again in Game 2 against the Cavaliers to seal their comeback victory, I was like, man, this dude is cold-blooded. That's not fair. This man. I mean, gotta give credit. Rick Carlisle, he's been doing something with this Pacers team. He is a good fit. I think the Pacers maybe need another veteran or two. And man, dude, this team is really good.
I just think the Pacers need somebody out there on the perimeter,
can play defense,
like a 3-and-D player.
Aaron Nesmith's been holding his own. He's a good defender, right?
Right. But I mean, you're gonna need at least another, I guess, established 3-and-D player in this league.
If they get someone like Cam Johnson,
maybe like a Cam Johnson, Jay Crowder, or someone somewhere along those lines, I think that pushes Indiana over the edge. Because right now, to me, I didn't expect Indiana to be there. Indiana looks like they're clearly going to the conference finals.
Without a doubt.
Without a doubt.
They're like another top 5 team, and they're
a top 3 team in my opinion now. They are
in the East.
Yeah, in the East. In the East, they're a top 3 team.
Yeah, and I mean, think about they took care of Milwaukee. They took care of a practically Damian Lillard less Milwaukee Bucks. So they played Giannis and the Pacers, and you know how that goes. And this series, I was honestly surprised because I think we all said, we got Cleveland winning in like 5 or 6 games. Now I'm like, damn, dude, Cleveland's now got an uphill battle. Do I think it's all over? I mean,
it's first to 4, and is it over?
It's debatable. It's debatable.
I mean, 3-1 right now. No Donovan Mitchell potentially for the next game.
I think Donovan Mitchell's going to play. He might. Him.
Okay, well, bottom line is, it's 3-1, and they're going back to Cleveland. They could take maybe the next game, but I don't see them going further than that.
I mean, I mean, I'm on your boat too. Again, 3-1, it's not impossible, but it is a steep hill to climb.
It is.
Versus 2-1, where all you have to do is just win one more game, and then you're good, right? But now Cleveland, it's just, man, just injuries. We talked about it too. It's all about their mindset, man. Like, who missed games? Hunter, Garland, Mobley. It's like, this is the playoffs. And we'll talk about it later, but you see MPJ with the bum shoulder. MPJ playing with the bum shoulder.
Steph Curry playing with the bum wrist. And
obviously pulled his hamstring.
But, I mean, it goes to show you the mindset of those players.
They've been through it.
Yeah, and then we see most of the Cavs starters. Mind you, starters and the defensive player of the year not playing in the playoffs. How disappointing is that?
Yeah, that's like...
How, like, bro, you need to be there for your team, bro.
It's the playoffs.
Go play, bro.
Yeah, man. Like,
damn.
Yeah, we talked about it, but it was just all the mindset, and that's what frustrates me with Cleveland because they're so good. Nobody in a million years would say, "Oh, it's going to be a Pacers and Knicks or Celtics in the conference finals."
I don't think anybody said it this year. I don't think anybody had the Pacers going to the conference finals again.
Because last year we were like, "Oh, they got easy path, whatever." But I mean, like, I was like, oh damn, they actually really are holding up.
Really.
They beat a healthy Cleveland Cavaliers in Game 1. I'm like, wow, dude. And granted, last year, they were a threat to the Celtics. I'm not even gonna lie, they posed a threat.
Yeah, last year, I'm not even gonna lie. The Pacers should have won at least 1 or 2 games in Boston.
They should have.
So this Pacer team, do they have a chance to go back to conference finals and potentially come out the East? That's a stretch. But, if everything goes their way, it's possible. It really is possible. Because Indiana's one of those teams that I'm just shocked. I'm just genuinely shocked.
But I got to give credit, dude. That team is a bunch of hoopers. Certified hoopers, man. And give credit, to obviously Tyrese Haliburton. But Rick Carlisle manning the fort. And that bench, it's just that defense is a little spotty at times. It's spotty, but...
that defense, I mean, look, I bagged their defense. I'm going to be honest. I bagged their defense. But you know what? they've shown these playoffs that they can actually play on both ends of the court. So
these dudes can hoop.
I'm just gonna eat my words and add some salt to them.
So before we move on to the next series, I want to talk about with you. Is it over for Cleveland? Yes or no?
Yep.
So you got
Indiana
in how many games?
I got them winning in 6.
Yeah, Indy in 6. I'm going with Cleveland in 7. It's a stretch, but I don't disagree with you on that. Anyway, now we're going to shift our focus out west, and we're going to be talking about a series that I really like. This is probably the best series of all, the Nuggets and Thunder, man.
That is just going to go down as one of the best playoff series in the playoffs, including the Warriors and Rockets. That was a really great series.
Yeah.
Nuggets and Clippers, that was another great series. And now we're getting a better one with the Nuggets against the Thunder.
Yeah, I mean, quick recap. I mean, I feel for the Nuggets and Thunder, like, obviously you can see the Nuggets experience show itself, right, with Aaron Gordon hitting that game-winning 3, which was like, man, that was like, dude, that was clutch. And he hit a game-tying 3 in Game 3, right, to, force overtime and all that whatnot. But it's just so impressive. Like, both these teams, you can see the youth of the Oklahoma City Thunder, and they're, obviously, with that youth, it comes growth, and with growth, it could lead to bigger things. And obviously, watching them play, I'm like, man, dude, these dudes can really hang with the best of them, man. Because today, I don't know if you saw the game. That shit was that was part of my French, but that was a low scoring game.
Yeah,
it was like what, 93-87 final score or something like that. Man, that's a good game. I was watching that. I was like, man. Like, the defense was played, and the refs let them play, and I love that. That's the one thing. If that's the one thing I could talk about in these playoffs, it's the refs are letting them play. That's what I have to say.
The thing that I have to say about this series is, you can see the experience from the Denver Nuggets in this series. You look at Game 3, I believe it was Game 3, right, where they went into overtime. And Denver pulled away in overtime. And you could see that experience in the playoffs. I felt like Chet Holmgren rushed some shots. I felt the Thunder were forcing some things. And that's part of the learning curve for them. But this OKC team has shown that they can hang with the best of them, and they're going through growing pains as we speak right now in the playoffs. And they're stepping up. They go out here in Game 4 and they hold the Nuggets to what, 9 points in the first quarter or something.
No,
like
it was 8.
8 points in the first. 8 points in the first quarter.
Shooting or something
how
that.
Ridiculously good is that defense?
I mean, also too, yeah. And I was watching the game for the majority of it, and the Thunder and the Nuggets were getting good looks. Like, the looks weren't bad; they just weren't making them. And so again, begs the question, if they're making those shots, it's a whole nother ball game, right? And then we'd be talking Denver going up 3-1 versus going 2-2 back in Oklahoma City, right? But it's like, like we alluded to, that experience is coming out.
You can see the experience. Yep.
Because when you get down in those last few possessions, those last few possessions are crucial. And like I said, Chet Holmgren, when he missed those 2 free throws, yes, it sucks. There are things you can't control, but there are times where it's like, hey, you got to focus in, you got to block the outside noise, and you got to capitalize. You got to make those shots. You got to execute, right? So it's all about execution, I think, in that series, because let's face it, Jokic had a bad game in Game 3. It was so bad.
Yeah.
That was a bad game. And, we all knew that he was going to come out and he's going to play better. And he did play better, albeit his shooting numbers weren't that great. But, I mean, you can't discount the Nuggets. That's why they're still my favorites. I still think they're going to come out. I still think they can beat the Oklahoma City Thunder in Oklahoma City again. And they could win it in 6. That's just me. I say Nuggets in 6.
I think Nuggets. This is going to go to 7 games, and I'm going to take the Nuggets. And the reason why is I'm just going to take that experience. We saw it in Game 3, saw it in Game 1. In the way also too, can we give props to Michael Porter Jr. for playing
that's
on
a dog
bum
right there.
shoulder?
That's a dog.
Like, come on, like that's just good for you, man.
Yeah,
like,
man.
Holy shit, man. Like he barely can move his arm, but he's still dabbing on the floor for loose balls. He's still hitting big time shots.
Yeah.
So MPJ, you got my props, dude.
Yeah, man. As much as we bag on him,
as much as we back on him being inconsistent, I mean, these playoffs, I mean, that respect level just went up.
Yeah.
That respect level just went up. But you know what? And also too, Aaron Gordon's having a career year.
Aaron Gordon, 43% from three. Man,
deep.
dude.
I mean, that's ridiculously fucking good. I mean, in Orlando, he was shooting like 27% for his entire career. And then this season, he's having a career year. I mean, that's fucking ridiculous, man.
Yeah,
that's ridiculous.
I mean, look, like I said,
and that's why I think the Nuggets right now have the advantage over the Nuggets as over the Thunder as well because of the experience, but also too, you got Aaron Gordon shooting the 3-ball at a high clip. Last year, teams weren't even closing out on him. Now teams respect his shot, so now you open up the floor more for Jokic to operate in the paint. You open up the floor more to run high pick and rolls with Jokic and Murray all day.
And granted, Murray needs to show up a little bit more. He needs to help out, Jokic and his team because MPJ and Aaron Gordon, they're having a hell of a series. Same thing with Christian Brown. He's been doing all the little things, man. But, it's just that bench is just killing. Well, I can't even say the bench is killing the Nuggets. Peyton Watson been playing good. Westbrook
to
is
me,
having a revival career.
He's that energy bunny that the Nuggets needed off the bench. Yes, he plays a million miles an hour, and yes, he takes some questionable shots, but you cannot question how hard he plays.
Nope.
And you can see that out there throughout this series and in the previous series against the Clippers. So to me, I think Westbrook has been, one of the bright spots.
I think he's the catalyst.
Yeah,
he's the catalyst.
Him and Peyton Watson, who's having a pretty damn good series too. And you got Christian Brown. Nuggets, to me, I think this is going to go a 7-game series. I'm taking the Nuggets.
Yeah, I say the Nuggets in 6, but I would not be surprised if it runs to 7. I'm not going to disagree with you, but this is definitely a 6 or 7 game series. Obviously, it's going to be a 6 or 7 game series at this point.
Right.
But it's just impressive. Like, that series is great. The last series I want to delve into before we hop right into the Wolves and Warriors. Obviously, the biggest headline in that series is talking about Steph Curry because I saw reports that he may be coming back next week.
Yeah,
I don't know how you feel. What do you think about that?
So if I break down the whole series and I'm looking at it, like game 1, the Warriors just they just made their shots. That's just what it came down to. They made their shots, and they lost Steph Curry that game 1, to a hamstring injury. And when I heard that, I was like, uh-oh, because now there's Warriors. That's literally him and Jimmy Butler. Now you take out Steph Curry, now it's Jimmy Butler and who else? And the Warriors have been doing it by committee. They just really have.
And they're doing a great job.
And what I really liked about this series too is the adjustment Steve Kerr made by putting Trace Jackson Davis into the game to match the size of the Wolves because they desperately needed somebody. I'm not saying Kevon Looney's bad. I'm not saying that. I just think Trace Jackson Davis provides that youth and that shot blocking ability and that rebounding.
And he's an
energizer bunny. The Warriors needed that. So Trace Jackson Davis and Jonathan Kuminga. Can't forget about him. He's having a quietly good series.
Yeah, he's had his moments. I think that for the Wolves, because I want to talk about Minnesota. I mean, man, those Wolves. That Anthony Edwards, this man is confident. You want to talk about confidence? This man is showing up. Posted Kevon Looney.
And he posted what? Who else?
Was it Kuminga too? I think
it was.
Whoever he posted, man, I was like, dude, this man is on a mission. You gotta give credit. I mean, Rudy Gobert, Julius Randle, man. Before you forget, obviously all those other Wolves players we can talk about in depth, but Julius Randle, I want to talk about this dude, man. He's been showing up, and I remember you was bagging him a lot. I remember you bagged him. You was like,
we all bagged him.
Yeah,
we all bagged him.
We did, but you did a little more, man.
Right. But
I kind of knew Julius Randle would kind of be pretty good for the Wolves,
Yeah, but I mean, the bottom line is, with Julius Randle, I mean, we saw him in New York when it came in the playoffs. I think he was clearly upset that Jalen Brunson was the number 1 option. Then they moved him down to the 2. I think that's what happened. My honest opinion. And in the postseason, how he did when he was in New York. Let's be real. Did he show up?
Yeah, he didn't show up.
He didn't show up. At times he didn't show up. This year, though, I mean, he's shown that he can be that bona fide number 2 option. That series against the Lakers, he stepped up. And then you see him in this series, he is stepping up. He had a triple-double last night. A triple-double. I just don't know what to say about Julius Randle because this guy is just, he's been one of the keys for the Wolves, and along with Naz Reid and Rudy Gobert. But, I think Julius Randle is
Jaden McDaniels.
And Jaden McDaniels. I think Julius Randle is giving the help that Anthony Edwards needs offensively.
Yeah, we talked about it because that was one of the worries that we always had. And I remember you and Isaac were big on that was, could you trust Julius Randle? And
right.
Does that change your thought now?
You know what? I mean, it's just 1 year. Okay, this is the first time I've seen consistency in the playoffs from Julius Randle. So I'm not gonna say yes, not quite yet.
But also too, like on your point about Julius Randle, right? And obviously last year being in New York, Jalen Brunson #1, right? And Tom Thibodeau, he's very set in his ways. I think what it is with Julius Randle. And under Chris Finch's system is he's bought into the system. He's accepted the fact that, hey, I don't need to have the ball all the time to be, valuable, effective in this game. What he's been doing and what he's been showing is he can impact the game on so many levels. And I think that's what, and credit Coach Finch for putting him in the right situations. In New York, he just wasn't fitting in New York for some reason with Jalen Brunson. But with Anthony Edwards, he's the perfect complement. Right? Obviously, Julius Randle needs to have the ball in his hand. He's proven it that he doesn't. He can go out, get some rebounds. He can assist. Right? He's doing the little things. And that's one of the things I really did like about him is his ability, to be adaptable. And he adapted playing for the Wolves. So, I mean, man, this dude, he's going to be important. The Wolves want to make a run. Because I've got Wolves and Nuggets in the conference finals.
I do too.
If the Wolves want to advance, or if the Wolves want to, because I originally said Warriors, no Steph Curry, it's still going to make it a lot harder because Steph Curry's not projected to be back till like next week or this week or something like that. But I got Wolves and Nuggets.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm just looking at the Wolves, and to me, by far, they're one of the deepest teams in the playoffs.
Without a doubt.
Hands down, they got 3 starters on that bench. Naz Reid, Dante DiVincenzo, and you could argue Nickeil Alexander-Walker, whom's having a resurrection career out there in Minnesota. For those of you who know who Nickeil Alexander-Walker was, he was drafted by the Pelicans and
traded to the Jazz.
And we saw glimpses of him in Utah. We saw glimpses of him when he was with New Orleans. But now you're seeing what the true value he provides to the Minnesota Timberwolves. And for those of you hoop heads who don't know this either, he's also the cousin of SGA.
Yeah, man.
So, this guy knows how to play some ball. And so, those 3 players on the Wolves have really propelled this Wolves team in the playoffs. And I think it's going to come down to this series. It's going to come down to Steph Curry. Is Steph Curry going to come back by game 6? Because if no Steph Curry, I'm taking the Wolves in probably in like 5 or 6.
Yeah, I'll take the Wolves in 6. No Steph Curry. Because like I said, I love the Warriors. I think their experience is going to be really valuable. However, you're telling me you're getting a 36-year-old Jimmy Butler carrying you. And don't get me wrong, the Warriors are handling business. They're doing what they got to do.
They are. They're doing the best.
But it's just not going to be in the playoffs.
It's not going to be enough.
You can get away with this in the regular season, but the playoffs is different.
You're not going to get away with this in the playoffs. And you're telling me, like, outside of Jimmy Butler, who else on that Warriors team can put the ball in the hole consistently?
Yeah, I'm not going to say Buddy Hield because Buddy Hield, he's a wild card.
Buddy Hield's had a couple good games.
He's a wild card.
I'll give him that. But yes, he's a wild card. So it's by committee. But we know Jimmy Butler's going to be there. Who else is going to be there for the Warriors on a consistent basis?
And Draymond, the thing is, Draymond needs to stay away from foul trouble and needs to do a better job controlling his emotions. Right, because he did foul out the last game, so he's got to do a better job of being smart and realizing what he means to this team, because that man is important. Draymond, you are important to the Warriors, and you need to stay on that floor in order to help the Warriors to win.
Just hope Draymond heard that.
Yeah, I'm hoping Draymond Green heard that, man. Much love to him. I love it. I love who he brings.
Love his energy. Love his passion for the game.
Yeah,
keep
man.
Doing you, Draymond.
Yeah, keep doing you, man. You got any more thoughts on all this, man? It's been a fun playoffs. I ain't even
Yeah,
lying.
man. This playoffs have been really fun.
It's actually better than last year's.
But the one thing that I'm gonna say that the one shocker for me is the Indiana series. I mean, I'm completely shocked. The Boston New York series, that one's just gonna be that's just a wild card, man.
Yeah, because if Boston wins,
I still think New York might pull this off. In about maybe 6 games. But that's neither here nor there. I'm going to take the Wolves to beat the Warriors, and then I'm going to take the Nuggets to beat the Thunder.
yeah, I'm taking Nuggets in 6. I'm taking Wolves. No Steph Curry before Game 6. I'm taking Wolves in 5.
I would have still taken the Wolves whether they had Steph Curry or not.
No, I took the Warriors, but I'm taking Wolves in 5.
Wolves are just too deep.
Pacers, and I'll give Cleveland one more game. I'll go Pacers in 6. And I'm going to go, obviously, Celtics in 6. I think the Celtics are going to come back and win it. That's neither here nor there. And you got any more closing thoughts?
No, it's just very exciting times. And, this week is going to be a very interesting week. So stay tuned. And, please follow us on TikTok, YouTube, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. Dummies on the Hardwood. We thank you all for the love, the feedback. Continue to like, comment, and subscribe. Any closers?
No, Bobby just said it all. Make sure you guys continue to show the love. We do appreciate your support. Again, episodes going to be dropping Wednesdays going forward. Make sure you hit that notification button so you guys don't miss out. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, have a great rest of your evening.